The art of casting. It truly is amazing how much two people talking over a game can affect the viewing experience. If done properly, it can elevate the gameplay to new heights, and potentially give birth to legendary clips that will be watched and rewatched for years to come.
Smokes. You see a double smokes in the same place there. Simple just jumping casually into the side. He's going to fall down again. What is this clutch from Simple? Are you serious? What is that? You can't do that, Simple. That's not allowed. This is not FPL. This is a major.
However, if it's done incorrectly, then clips will still emerge, just not for the right reason.
My mama always told me, don't go down the same alley you just got ripped.
Boss, please.
Oh, it's not?
No.
I'm sorry, guys.
No.
It's not okay to say rip. You guys say rip all the time.
No, we do not, actually. We actually don't.
Brawlhalla is of course no exception to this. Over the 9 years that this game has had an esports scene, there have been hundreds upon thousands of matches streamed for official tournaments, and by extension, hundreds of hours worth of commentary. For a large portion of this time, the casting was outstanding. The casters were lively, energetic, and whenever a player did something clip-worthy, they exuded hype that was nothing short of contagious.
He almost stopped attacking once Boomy was figuring out his movement, figuring out the spacing
Ground
on
pound,
everything.
down air,
Oh, that's it!
Side stick, gravity canceled after a ground pound combo starter sandstorm.
Man, I just love this clip. I can't believe it's already been 5 years since this happened. Say, what's Brawlhalla casting like nowadays?
I'm going down to final stock. Could the prophecy be fulfilled here, TK? And we're gonna get a game 5 between Marky Moo and Sandstorm.
I mean, this will be the prophecy broken right here, actually, because they've been going 3-1 so often. But looks like we potentially may get. Yeah, it looks like we're going into a game 5 for the first time here, at least in a while.
Where's the rest?
The reaction, Skylar.
Where is the rest? Where is
The reaction.
To give some context to the uninitiated, it's grand finals of the Trial of Freya, the last official 1v1 tournament before the Autumn Royale and the World Championship. On the winner's side is Marky Moo, a Mordex player who came bursting onto the scene in 2024, rising to the top at a rapid pace. On the loser's side is Sandstorm, who is the... Okay, do I really have to introduce Sandstorm at this point? So here we have two of the greatest Mordex players of all time battling it out not only for tournament placement, but also determining who's currently the better Mordex. Essentially, it was a battle between the old and the new generation. With everything that's at stake, this set should have been a commentary goldmine. And yet, even when Marky Moo hits one of the best clips of the year on Sandstorm, all the casters can manage to get out is a ooh, okay. Seriously? I've seen more engaging casting at a retirement home shuffleboard game. Of course, this isn't just some cherry-picked example. I think most would agree with me when I say that Brawlhalla's casting has been on a constant decline for a couple of years now. Today, I would like to share 3 reasons as to why I believe this has happened. Before I get into those reasons, however, I'd like to remind you that if you enjoyed this video, make sure to like and subscribe. If you do, I guarantee you I'll have one more like and subscriber. Reason number 1. Caster Importation. When it comes to games with casters, they will often have a select group of people as their top talent, some of which are synonymous with the game they cast for. If you want examples, look at John Madden in the NFL.
There's a pigeon on the field. How did he get in there? I tell you, there's the throw. Johnson really has some bait, and there's the pigeon was right there where Johnson was running.
Or if you want a gaming example, there's the Anders and Moses duo in Counter-Strike.
It's just going to take a single good burst. He reloads quick, he's up back. Oh my god, NIP, they win the second pistol round as well.
In the early years of Brawlhalla esports, we saw something similar. The most recognizable caster at this time, at least in my opinion, was ironically someone whose job wasn't even casting, Foda. It always seemed that whenever he was casting, which was quite often during that time, his commentary and reactions could bring the gameplay to life.
So there hits. Oh my gosh! I thought the downline connection always active. Gonna get it. They're both unarmed. They're gonna go against each other unarmed. Godly goes for the weapon. Weapon spot comes through.
Oh, that's it, ladies and gentlemen. The tournament is over, and Godly is your European HP Omen champion.
I could honestly make this a sub-point. Let's call it Reason 1.5. No Foda casting. Seriously, Foda, please come back to the regular casting lineup. You might be our only hope. Anyways, Foda obviously wasn't the only recognizable caster during this time. Sparky, Duke, and Flambeau were among the small group of casters that BMG would use in the beginning. But as the years went on and Brawlhalla grew in size, something peculiar began to happen. Casters for other fighting games began casting for Brawlhalla. For example, TK Breezy, Dara Emgar, and Turndown for Walt from the Smash Bros. Community. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that there's something inherently wrong with bringing people from outside the community to cast for the game. In fact, I think that one of those casters I just mentioned, Turndown for Walt, is actually pretty decent at times. He knows how to be hype and can bring lots of energy. For better...
Balloon Boy off stage! That's all everyone, but that's the end of it! It's gonna be Autumn doubled for the first time ever! Balloon Boy and Hideaway find the gold medal!
Or for worse.
What is wrong with y'all today, bro?
But importing these casters does, however, come with some consequences. For one, it takes away the chance for other, lesser-known casters within the Brawlhalla community to get a chance at casting on the main stage. I would much rather see a new face on the casting desk who's been in the community for years than someone who casts for an entirely different game and isn't really part of the community. On top of that, there are so many outside casters being brought in that there will often be two non-Brawlhalla casters paired together for a tournament. That's exactly what happened during the Marky Moo and Sandstorm set from earlier, where the two casters were Turndown for Walt and TK Breezy. If we're gonna have outside casters, at least pair them with a Brawlhalla caster who will have much deeper knowledge and insight to give the viewers. That leads us to the other problem. Brawlhalla is not these casters' game of choice. Their expertise and commitment lies in a different game, which has entirely different mechanics than Brawlhalla. I'm not trying to fault them for this, as it's only natural that you'll know the most about the game that you're most invested in, but it can lead to some of them having inferior knowledge about the game, or perhaps not really caring much about the game at all. I'm sure that BMG is offering these casters a sizable paycheck considering the amount of money that they give away in prize pools, and I'd be willing to bet that it's much more than what they get paid casting for other games. It's not a stretch to say that their motives could be more monetary rather than a genuine passion for Brawlhalla. But who cares, right? As long as they're doing a good job, does it really matter where their intentions lie? Well, reason number 2, caster knowledge and interest. Let's say I was approached by an esports organization to do some casting for one of their tournaments. The game I'd be casting for is one I either don't like or have no real knowledge about, say League of Legends for example. However, the pay is quite decent, so I decided to take the job despite my disinterest and lack of knowledge in the game itself. Can you even imagine what the commentary for that tournament would sound like? Shoot, I think I might have just fallen asleep. Is it over yet? But if I hand the headset over to a real caster for League of Legends, it suddenly starts sounding like Eminem entered the building.
Find an opportunity quite yet. Hamilton looking forward, gets it started off. Vander now trying to interrupt with the taunt. Nuke Duck looking for a way to the back line, but Upset remains untouched. Sadly, Vander going to get cut down immediately by Reckless. Buys a bit of time with the stopwatch. Upset now looking for a little bit more.
The truth is that it's very difficult, dare I say almost impossible, to provide effective casting for a game you either dislike or know only on a surface level. If you understand the game but dislike it, then you'll sound disinterested. And if you like the game but have no clue what's actually going on, then you'll just sound like an idiot. Now, I know what you're thinking. Okay, Tripped, this is getting a little far-fetched. There is no way that BMG would ever hire someone who doesn't know Brawlhalla. Like, that idea is utterly ridiculous.
We got a fun match coming up, Skeldra versus Pavelski.
Yes.
Gonna be a lot of Scythe Greatsword, which I personally love. I love these Vortex weapons.
This is Junebug. Junebug does not know Brawlhalla. You're probably thinking I'm exaggerating for comedic value. Unfortunately, I am not.
Right. Oh, man. You see one of the cons of running a low defense champ.
Genuine question to the regular viewers of the Brawlhalla tournament streams. Have you ever heard Junebug say the name of a Brawlhalla attack? Because I sure haven't. Instead, he'll just laugh.
All right, so we got Blitz and XJ Cool J.
That's how you say it. It's actually no. That's like literally the way that you pronounced it. That's like XJ Cool J. Like that's there's the
or make noises.
Gravity cancel D-Light after picking it up from the platform goes all the way off stage to the edge guard, and he may have overextended.
God.
Or say something overly generic like classic 2v1, 2v2 combo. They both just got caught in that legendary combo. I am not kidding, that is something he said.
Classic 2v1. And now we have a 2v2 combo. Both players getting caught in that legendary combo from Raiden.
So, the question has to be asked. Why? Why is this person, who so clearly doesn't know what they're talking about, casting for an official Brawlhalla tournament? Actually, I already know the answer. Over in the Smash community, Junebug is quite the notable figure. He's considered one of the best Project M players of all time, and he does a good amount of casting too. Now, I'm not sure why this isn't abundantly obvious to BMG, but just because someone is good at casting for one game, doesn't mean they'll be good at casting for another game. Junebug is a textbook example of this, and although he's by far the least knowledgeable of the imported casters, I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that most of the non-Brawlhalla casters are gonna have less in-depth knowledge than Brawlhalla casters would. But out of the two traits that I mentioned at the header of this section, those being knowledge and interest, I think the latter is the one most people want me to talk about. And yeah, I think it's pretty obvious. A lot of the imported casters just don't have the interest in the game that they should. For example, let's take a look at TK Breezy. Now, TK is quite possibly the most well-known caster that BMG has ever brought on. He has a large following, he's iconic in the Smash scene, and he even does casting for more traditional fighters, such as Street Fighter and Tekken. Obviously, TK's attention is divided between multiple games, Smash being the majority, but if he did have a genuine interest in Brawlhalla, then he should be talking about it sometimes, right? Well, let's take a look at his Twitter and see if there's any mentions of Brawlhalla. Okay, so there's a mention about the Brawlhalla caster situation, which is ironically why I'm making this video right now, but as I scroll, and scroll, and scroll, and scroll some more, the truth is quite apparent. There is just nothing about Brawlhalla here. I mean, there's the very occasional retweet about something Brawlhalla related, but there's nothing from TK himself. It's all just news and Smash. And once again, I am not knocking him for this. Smash is obviously his main game, but if you're gonna try to convince me that you actually care about Brawlhalla, then shouldn't you be talking about it a little bit more? Well, let's be fair here. Twitter isn't the only place that he posts on, he's got plenty of other socials. For example, he's got a YouTube channel where he posts stuff about drama, esports, and, you guessed it, Smash. So, does Brawlhalla ever get a video? The answer is basically no. It did get a mention in the I ranked every platform fighter ever video, but come on. Of course it did. He literally included the Kung Fu Panda fighting game. So if this dog shit got included but Brawlhalla didn't, then there is something severely wrong here. Besides that, the only other time Brawlhalla gets a mention in one of his videos, at least from what I could tell, is in this video, where he basically says, I went to BCX, and then starts ranting about some semi-unrelated topic for the next 6 minutes.
I am 100% a gatekeeper, and I will say that every chance I get, because if I know you don't like me and you think that you're doing a better job than me or whatever, you should have spots that I should have, I will go out my way to make sure I do top 8 the tournaments you're going to. You know what I mean?
So once again, I pose the question. If you're trying to convince me that you have a genuine love for Brawlhalla, then why is it that you so seldom mention it? If you love a game, then you want it to grow, and TK, you have an audience, so talk about the game more, get more eyes on it. You said that the game is good, but is held back by its flash game aesthetics, so convince people why they should play the game despite those drawbacks. But he hasn't done that, and I don't believe he will, and that's because I think that he doesn't like the game as much as he'd like you to believe. Now, some of you might be asking right about now, what in the world did all of that have to do about his casting? TK is a top tier caster in the Smash scene, so as long as he does a good job, then he's fine. That's the thing though. In my opinion, and no disrespect to TK Breezy, but he is one of the lowest energy casters that Brawlhalla has ever seen, almost as if he just doesn't care as much. Also, he's often the common denominator in these clips that are emerging of low energy casting.
Actually, Cool J has the spear now. Ground pound, yeah, YOLO. A little bit too obvious, I think.
Over.
I would ground pounded, dude, but he didn't want to miss.
Yeah,
on ground pound was guaranteed to win.
so. And now recovery for recovery, but this one was armed recovery.
I know I just spent a good chunk of time talking solely about TK Breezy, but this low energy thing does apply to other casters. TK is just the biggest example. Now, all of this isn't to say that there's no good casters anymore. Those remaining of the original group of casters are still good, and there's even been a few new casters that I've enjoyed. For example, Polymonto is a caster who was introduced as part of the lineup for BCX of 2023. He was knowledgeable about the game and brought hype to the matches he was commentating on.
Not again. Use goes for it again. It picks up another dodge read. Not like this use. And another one. Gosh. There's no stopping this man. He said, hold up, last game was close. Let's change that for our match point.
And hey, what a coincidence. Polymonto has been a recognizable face in the Brawlhalla community for years. Gee, it's almost like having a background in the game you're casting for gives you the ability to provide quality commentary for said game. Now, I think most would agree that out of the two necessary qualities that I spoke of earlier, those being vast knowledge and a genuine interest in the game, the latter is the one that many of these casters don't have. If you spend enough time learning the fundamentals and terminology of a game, you can at least sound like you know what you're talking about. But feigning enjoyment of a game for hours on end is nearly impossible to do, no matter how much you've learned. So, if these casters are disinterested and bored of the game they're attempting to cast for, it's only a matter of time before they stray off topic. And that's exactly what's been happening more and more these days. Whether they're trying to or not, the casters have increasingly begun shifting the focus of their commentary from the gameplay to other irrelevant topics.
He had a streak, and ever since this streak, it's never been the same. I feel like Stingray, that's what I'm trying to figure out.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna be honest. That Lance change definitely changed the game for a lot of those Lance players, a lot of the Lance mains. But it's a good patch. It's a very good patch.
It's gonna be hard right here. You can see Stingray kind of holding the side right here.
Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying casters need to keep 100% of their dialogue to the game. A good caster knows when to incorporate outside elements to enhance their commentary. But there are a couple of unspoken rules that casters should follow if they do begin to talk about something besides the gameplay. 1. Try to make your topic somewhat tie back into the game. 2. Don't linger for too long on an unrelated topic. And most importantly, 3. Never let your unrelated topic take precedence over the gameplay. To elaborate on that last point, let me set up a hypothetical scenario. Imagine you're a caster for Brawlhalla, and you and your casting partner find yourselves talking about something off topic from the gameplay, perhaps your favorite TV show. As you're talking, you suddenly notice that one of the players in the game is hitting an insane zero-to-death combo. Do you A. Immediately drop what you were talking about to provide commentary for what's unfolding on screen, or B. Continue rambling about your unrelated, unnecessary, and likely unwanted topic that's currently taking away from the gameplay you're supposed to be casting over? Any reasonable person would pick option A, and yet some current Brawlhalla casters choose option B. Even Sandstorm made a tweet calling out the casters for constantly wandering off topic. I cannot believe I'm saying this out loud right now, but here comes a truth bomb for these casters. It's not about you. The viewers came to watch Brawlhalla. Your job is to enhance their experience by describing what's happening, giving in-depth analysis regarding the game, and to just try and make it more immersive and entertaining for the viewers to watch. Going almost 2 entire minutes without mentioning anything that's going on in the match is not the way to do this. But the cherry on top for this point also comes from the grand finals of the Trial of Freya, where the casters were talking about how the production team wanted to go home. The production team, of course, including themselves.
Marky Moo has been sitting pretty in grands for what feels like a hot minute.
Yeah,
so.
Some would say hours. Anyway, you know, hours, days, weeks. Longest recorded Brawlhalla set since 1970.
Oh my God!
A single tear is coming down Toast's face right now, bro. Like he wants to be done so bad.
It is so late. Sandstorm is playing so well. He's playing his heart out to ruin the lives of our production team. TK, that is the end. Our dreams have been ruined, but the dreams of the production team are so in flourish right now.
Obviously, this is played off for laughs, but when you remember their lack of energy throughout this set, one must wonder how much truth is in that joke. And of course, there's also just the fact that you shouldn't be wishing for a game like this to be over. It's the Grand Finals bracket reset with 2 of the best players in the region going head to head. If this set really did go to a Game 10, it would only take another 10 to 15 minutes at most, which isn't much compared to the length of the entire tournament. So why would you be praying for it to be over? I understand that they said it was late, but if I recall correctly, it was only around 10 PM, which isn't too atypical of a time for these tournaments to end, and it's not like they have the most laborious job in the world. So I think I've sufficiently proven that many of the casters don't have the interest in Brawlhalla that they should. But now it's time for the final reason. Reason number 3, professionalism. When I think back to the old clips that I love so much, there's a certain feeling that they give off that I can only describe as amateur. The lower quality microphones, the simplified on-screen graphics, the basic casting desk with just a decorated sheet behind them, and the raw, unfiltered reactions.
Can you keep it going? It looks like the answer is yes.
Yo,
Tyler Alice,
go!
Alice, the reverse 3 stock. Let's go.
Don't get me wrong, when I say amateur, I don't mean it in a bad way. That's just how things were back then, as BMG was a smaller company that was just starting to build their esports scene. Compare that to today, where the production is anything but amateur. Higher quality microphones, complex and detailed on-screen graphics, elaborate props for the casting desk with large screens behind them, and more tame and filtered reactions.
Player 2 wins.
These changes are what took away the amateur feeling and replaced it with a more professional one. Now, this was obviously inevitable, especially after BMG's buyout from Ubisoft. Their production budget increased drastically, and they'd be dumb not to take advantage of it. But in doing so, they've lost a lot of the authentic charm that was so prevalent in the earlier years. However, there's one change I mentioned that has nothing to do with the budget increase: the reactions. It's no secret that being loud and hyped up is viewed as unprofessional by many. When it comes to business, having a serious demeanor is practically expected. This is what makes both sports and esports such oddballs. They're some of the only times where being loud and hyper isn't just normal, but expected. The older generations give sports a pass since it's been around for ages, but the same luxury isn't afforded to esports. Many older people see esports as loud, obnoxious, and a waste of time and money.
Now look at this. This is the Essendon esports team, and hello, gents. How are you?
Yeah, we're going all right.
Going all right. What position do you play in the team?
In our team, I play support.
Support. You're a supporter.
But that's the sacrifice you have to make when your game has an esports scene. Besides, esports is targeted towards younger demographics, which shouldn't come as a surprise to anyone. In the beginning of Brawlhalla esports, this was well understood by BMG, but as time has progressed, it almost seems like they're trying to be viewed as more serious and professional by sacrificing the usual hype that should come with any esports casting. If I had to think back to the last time I remember a caster truly rising to the occasion and being exceptionally hype, it was during BCX of 2022 when Stingray pulled off one of the greatest clutches in Brawlhalla history, and Flambeau's reactions were nothing short of fantastic.
And at this point, a neutral light will KO, and you can see kind of starting to fish for it. Doesn't want to go for a super laggy move. The neutral light is all he needs to get the KO. Doesn't get it there. That was an opportunity. Stingray knows what his win condition is, and he's going for it. He wants it so bad. He's got it. He's betting it all. He's betting it all. Can he do it? Can he stop Kaina, or will Kaina close his dreams out here? And Stingray is so goddamn clutch.
Now, like I said, this was BCX of 2022, meaning it's been almost 2 years since I can remember a caster popping off this hard. I believe that this reaction may have inadvertently caused BMG to force their casters to tone it down. Why? Because Flambeau cursed. I know, terrible, right? But cursing is seen as unprofessional, so if BMG is trying to lend themselves an air of professionalism, then a curse word, even a light one, will ultimately be seen as a negative. Now obviously, I have no idea if this is true or not, but I think it's a theory worth considering. But I think that most of us would love to see more reactions like that. When I was watching that clip live on Twitch, I literally jumped out of my chair due to sheer hype. I don't think it's unreasonable to say that the moment would have been completely ruined if the casters acted as unenthusiastic as some of them do now. So thank you, Flambeau, as well as the other casters who still put their energy into their commentary. That's exactly what this game needs. One last point I want to bring up here is how BMG, likely in an attempt to look inclusive, continues to hire a caster, Dara Mgar, who has a heavy speech impediment.
Yeah, already a fantastic opening for Boomy, just did not seem to be too phase 2 threatened that entire first stock. So I want to keep focusing on Bunny Hoop because I feel like this is the kind of a player that, you know, we saw like Pavelski and Fridasoul yesterday where it's like, oh, when they get like those crazy edge guards, they are able to make stocks disappear. How much damage is Sandstorm going to be able to deal? You already know the kind of damage output that Moridex has. Looking for that Enlight, the recovery somehow not KOing off the top.
Now, before I go any further, I want to make it abundantly clear that I am not making fun of Dara's speech impediment in any way. It's unfortunate that they have to deal with such an issue. However, if you do have a condition which inhibits your ability to speak properly, then I do not believe you should be doing a job where you literally do nothing but speak for hours, unless you provide significant value that outweighs the drawbacks of your condition. For instance, if Sandstorm wanted to cast but had a speech impediment, then I'd still let him commentate, as the value he brings as the GOAT of Brawlhalla is much more significant than his speech impediment. Unless, of course, his speech impediment is so heavy that you literally cannot understand a word that comes out of his mouth, in which case, sorry buddy, but you're not casting. Dara, on the other hand, does not bring that type of value. They're a caster who came from the Smash Brothers community, and doesn't have anything that would make them more valuable than any other caster without a speaking condition. And listen, there's nothing wrong with that. Nobody can do every type of job out there. My scrawny 5'9", 125-pound self would never be able to become a linebacker in the NFL, no matter how much I wanted to be one. Is it fair? No, but unfortunately, the world is not a fair place. There are just some jobs that I physically cannot do. The same thing applies to Dara. It's sad that their passion is inhibited by their speech impediment, but many people have expressed how they don't like when Dara is casting, which shows that it's damaging the viewing experience. Seriously, go look at Twitch chat while they're casting, or at the YouTube comment sections of a set that they casted for. It's filled with people saying that they don't like their commentary, and even if you yourself don't mind, it's undeniable that it's affecting viewers negatively. The point of casters is to bring up the entertainment value for viewers, and it's clear that their speech impediment is detracting from the entertainment, which is going against the whole reason that casters are there in the first place. I think that BMG knows this, but they don't want the backlash that would likely come from kicking Dara off the casting team, so they just ignore it outright. This is a small point compared to the others since it's just one caster, but I still thought I should mention it. So those are my 3 main reasons as to why Brawlhalla casting has gone so downhill. They've imported too many casters from other communities, they have lots of casters who don't even have a real interest in the game, and they're trying too hard to be professional in an industry that's supposed to be more on the unprofessional side. With all of that laid out, I think the solutions are quite apparent. BMG needs to stop bringing in so many outside casters and start promoting those that are already within the Brawlhalla community who will bring their genuine love for the game, and BMG also needs to stop trying to become so professional and uptight. If they were to do this, I believe that Brawlhalla's casting problem would finally be fixed. So, if there are any casters you'd like to see in an official Brawlhalla stream, or maybe one that's already part of the official streams but you wish they'd be on more often, make sure to share them in the comment section down below. I'm well aware that this is likely to be my most controversial video to date, so if you completely disagree with everything I just said and hate my guts, then please tell me why in the comments below. It totally does not help my video and the algorithm. Oh, and most importantly of all, I'm starting a petition to bring Foda back as a regular to the casting desk. Please sign it. We desperately need Foda back on the casting team. And if you're watching Foda, we're begging you to come back. Please come back. Please come back. Please, please.